3, 2, 1.
What impression would you have of a car brand that sells only 40 cars a year? It must be a company facing a severe market crash, going through an extremely tough phase, or probably a brand that just sells crappy cars nobody wants, right? Sorry to break the news to you, but all your guesses are just utterly wrong. We are talking about Pagani, a super expensive car manufacturer that, in more than 2 decades of being in business, only manufactured around 450 cars. But don't be fooled. That's actually their specialty, not their adversity. But who made the decision to produce such a small number of cars? Was it an outright business genius or just a production cost savior that later turned into somewhat of a cult figure? What is the story behind Pagani, a brand that often surpasses Ferrari and Lamborghini? Well, stick with us and let's find out. The victorious story of Pagani starts in 1955, when Horacio Pagani, a little boy, was born in Casilda, Argentina. It was a small town miles away from the world of fancy cars that Horacio would later rule. He was a child to a baker father and an artist mother, both very regular people completely alien to the motor industry. But little did they know that their son was destined to be anything but regular. Horacio had a fascination for cars since his childhood. He used to see a lot of American and European cars out on the road. However, those weren't much of any interest to him. What he was more interested in were stylish, fancy sports, racing, and supercars.
We're gonna build a race car.
Unfortunately, he did not have any access to this kind of car in his hometown, but there was a magazine that opened up the world for him. It was a car magazine that drifted over from Italy and became his window to Modena, the town where there was Maserati, Ferrari, and Lamborghini, and the place where the ambitious Horacio hoped to move someday. This magazine provided plenty of inspiration for the young inventor's mind. Imagine an 8-year-old chasing down a local man's Jaguar E-Type on his bicycle just to sit and stare at it for hours when it is parked. This was the extent to which Horacio's passion for cars had grown already at that young age. At age 12, while other kids of his age played football, Horacio made a small room his playground. There, he used to bring pieces of balsa wood and scrape them to form the shape of those cars he found incredible from the Italian magazine, and imagined that those were his cars. Just 3 years later, at age 15, Horacio built his own motorcycle, which he rode in his hometown.
I didn't even have a car. Just a motorcycle.
With all of these crazy inventions, Horacio's keen interest in technology was pretty evident and unique. However, there was also something that he inherited from his parents, specifically from his mother, an inclination toward the arts. And here his confusion began. Horacio was in a dilemma about which field to pursue and make a career in, arts or engineering. But then his first hero, Leonardo da Vinci, came to his rescue via an article in which he stated that art and science are 2 disciplines that can walk together, hand in hand. Nobody but Leonardo da Vinci could have said something like that in that era. The statement became Horacio's mantra, which he repeats to this day. And he decided to pursue both his interests. This decision would eventually add a very unique value to his cars. Horacio moved to La Plata, the capital of the province of Buenos Aires, to study fine arts. But following his mantra, he also enrolled in some engineering courses.
Thanks to you, it's been my mantra ever since.
While studying at the university, he picked up a job at a local shop and started saving money for his motor projects. By 1977, the 22-year-old had his own space and had managed to fund his first 2 projects, a dune buggy and a single-seater Formula 2 race car, named Limitada Santafesina. It is also known as the first real Pagani because everything in it, except a Renault engine, was fashioned by Pagani. In the professional world, Horacio's emergence as a talented engineer emerged when he was hired by Renault to improve the body of one of their racing cars. He did a good job and somehow got to meet another hero of his life who would play a crucial role in his career, the Argentinian Formula 1 race car pilot Juan Manuel Fangio. Fangio looked at Horacio's projects and decided to refer him to Lamborghini.
It's a Lamborghini.
With 5 endorsement letters written by Juan Manuel Fangio, Horacio knocked on Lamborghini's doors in 1983. One of those letters was addressed to Giulio Alfieri, the general manager of Lamborghini at that time. Alfieri told Horacio there were no opportunities at the company because it was in very bad shape. In the words of Horacio, he told Alfieri, "Allow me to wipe the floor. Remember, I've come here to make the most beautiful car on earth." The situation was critical at Lamborghini in those years, but Alfieri was an extraordinary person. He replied, "You must be willing to start as a third-level factory worker." But it did not shake Horacio's dream and passion for car manufacturing. Horacio took the job and started in what was known as the very lowest position in Italy's engineering industry. After Horacio joined Lamborghini as an unskilled laborer, the management soon took notice of his engineering talent and promoted him. Within no time, he climbed the ranks higher and higher and eventually became a chief engineer. This allowed him to be a key figure in the development of the 1988 Countach Anniversary, a model built to celebrate Lamborghini's 25th anniversary. The Countach was Horacio's dream car. He knew it by heart.
That's my favorite car.
Really?
And given that Horacio had a poster of that car in his childhood bedroom, getting to work on it was a huge honor and achievement for him. According to Horacio, it was a challenge to update the aging Countach model. He knew it wouldn't be an easy task, but he worked hard and made the first prototype within 3 months. He got to show it to Fangio, who was impressed to see it. And when Lamborghini opened up its sale, it became a tremendous success, selling over 600 units in just a few months. Horacio continued to work on Lamborghini projects, including the LM002. He also went to work on the 1987 Countach Evoluzione, the very first supercar whose frame was made out of carbon fiber, which Horacio calls a wonder material. A couple of years later, he suggested Lamborghini to buy an autoclave for the production of carbon fiber parts for the cars. For those unaware, an autoclave is a machine that delivers the perfect surface quality of carbon fiber pre-peg parts because of the high pressure that compresses the part and prevents air voids from forming. Unfortunately, Lamborghini refused to put the money up for an autoclave, reasoning that Ferrari did not have an autoclave, so Lamborghini didn't need one either.
You need to think like Ferrari.
However, Horacio heavily disagreed with this decision, so when his goals fell out of line with Lamborghini's beliefs, he decided to go on his own. In 1987, Horacio took a loan and bought his own autoclave. 4 years later, he parted ways from Lamborghini and founded Modena Designs, which would later become known as Pagani Automobili. Remember Horacio's childhood dream of one day moving to Modena, which he saw in the Italian car magazine? He had finally fulfilled it. Horacio once said, "I was in the heart of Modena's Motor Valley. At that time, the Modena area was not yet known by that accolade, but my goal had always been to move to Modena to build my own cars." The foundation of Horacio's dream was laid, and now it was time to build stories of excellence on it. He and his team made carbon fiber parts for Ferrari's Formula One team. Shortly after, the production of their first own car began, which he named Fangio. Yes, exactly. After his Formula One hero, the same man whose referral letter took him to Lamborghini and started his career in the automotive industry.
You used to drive that Formula One.
Unfortunately, before the car could reach the roads, Juan Manuel Fangio passed away, and therefore, the car's name was changed from Fangio to Zonda. Finally, after 7 years of production, the car was completed and presented to the general public on the occasion of the 1999 Motor Show in Geneva. It was sold at prices up much above 1 million euros. The car was totally hand-built by skilled workers using a carbon fiber frame and carbon fiber bodywork. An interesting fact about Zonda is that Lamborghini tried to purchase the project. Horacio said in an interview, "The fact of making my car involved the risk of failure, which was an important problem for me, my company, and my family to consider. Not only that, giving the project to Lamborghini would have meant giving continuity to a beautiful relationship. It was my sons who convinced me not to think about the economic side or about an easier future to travel. They convinced me to stay on the original idea. Other than that, I never had any doubts about it."
My son.
After the initial Zonda, several variants and models were produced and sold by Pagani, which went on to be very successful. In 2011, Pagani's second car was produced, named Huayra. after Huayra, the god of the wind in Incan culture. The car was heralded by many as the most beautiful car of all time. Most beautiful car. Yes, you heard that right. Usually about cars, we hear terms such as most powerful, the fastest, or most durable. But in creating the most beautiful car is where Horacio put his interest in arts. He has that unprecedented technical and artistic sensitivity, which gives him the ability to offer beauty and sportsmanship at the same time. The latest addition to Pagani's magnificent creations is the successor to the Huayra, named Utopia. It is powered by a twin-turbocharged Mercedes-AMG sourced V12 and sends a whopping 635 kW and 1,100 Nm to the rear wheels. It was launched in September 2022 with only 99 units to be built before the company considers open-topped or track-focused variants. Coming back to our initial question, why does such a successful company not build more cars to satisfy demand and just to make a few hundred million more? They could do it easily, but according to its founder, Horacio, that isn't the Pagani way. He reportedly said, "The vision is always the same. It hasn't changed since we started. The increase is only based on opening new markets." This is something we think is very important. Exclusivity, numbers, and production go hand in hand.
We have a very exclusive membership here.
It is rumored that Pagani knows all of its customers personally. And did you know that every Pagani car has Horacio's signature printed on it? He believes that when you sign a car, you acknowledge the responsibility of your job. You say, "This was me." He says, "There are many clients who, when they come to collect their vehicle, want me to sign a real signature somewhere on the car. The engine, the rear bonnet. Sometimes they also want the other people who worked on the car to sign it. This is how direct the relationship is." Horacio Pagani's story is one of the best examples of believing and following your dreams so much that they become your reality. Do you also have a dream that looks like a distant reality? If yes, what is it? And how do you plan to fulfill it? Let us know in the comments. If you found this video entertaining or learned something new, please leave a like and tell us what you'd like to see next. Also, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell on your way out so you won't miss out on our next inspiring video. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again soon.